Hey guys, this is Homework with Miss Ray. We have two homework assignments and they are both connected to one another. Last week we did a lot of work and I had to actually sit and think about all the stuff that we did. We started the week off looking at poverty, hunger, and disease, how these things come to be, what we can actually do to change them. We also looked at countries that have full control over their citizens, from what they can watch on TV to when they need to cut their hair to the types of clothes that they wear. This week, we're going to ease on back into our own country and look at how free we are and really look at how those freedoms can be taken advantage of and even cause people to lose their lives. And so today we are going to take a look at the George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin case. This case is similar to the story or the play that we're going to read. We watched a video of it today, and so we're going to actually start reading or preparing to read it tomorrow. And so I want you guys to start thinking about a lot of the things that we read, we are already familiar with things that are similar. And so, what I'm trying to do is get you guys to start making some connections to what's happening today, what's something that I've heard before that actually connects with my understanding of what I'm reading now. So you're not new to this. We've done this twice now. So you're going to be making a diagram just like this. And you're going to fill in your pieces. We have our question in the center. How do certain freedoms cause others to control or destroy the lives of others? George Zimmerman is going to be your first bubble. Your second one is going to be Trayvon Martin. Your third is going to be Stand Your Ground. For George Zimmerman, I do want you guys to give me all the information that you got from the text. For those of you who always go above and beyond, you'll probably have more than five. For Trayvon Martin, three is probably going to be the max of information you'll find. Stand Your Ground law. What is it? What does it entail? How does it work? We're going to look at a graph that shows red states and yellow states. I want you to tell me give me a couple states from each one, and then tell me what's the difference between a red state and a yellow state. Recipe for tragedy. This is a particular paragraph in the article. I want you to look at the repercussions. What are the consequences of having stand your ground laws? Are they benefiting those states, or is it creating more problems than what it's really worth? So I want you guys to really look at that and think about it and take notes there. At the end, as always, what are your thoughts? I feel or I believe that the stand your ground law is it good? Is it bad? Is it beneficial? Is it the worst idea ever? Because of what? Give me your thoughts. And then, of course, we're going to turn it back right into the article. In the article, it says, give me something from the text. And when I read this, I felt upset, angry, sad, frustrated, confused because of what? Even if you are confused and you have no idea how this works, I still want to know why. If you're confused, tell me why. If you're upset, tell me why. What are your thoughts? That part, I really want you to take some time to reflect on how all of this works. Okie dokie. So let's look at this article. It's called Trayvon Martin, a Victim of Florida's Gun Laws. So, of course, this took place in Florida, and this is back in 2012. All right. So I'm going to be reading the article to you, and like before, you are going to be taking notes on your own. Okay. On February 26, 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was walking down the street in Sanford, Florida, when he was confronted by 28-year-old George Zimmerman. Trayvon Martin was carrying a can of iced tea and a bag of candy. George Zimmerman had a license to carry a concealed weapon and a 9mm handgun. Florida's weak concealed handgun licensing law enabled Zimmerman, who had been previously arrested for battering a police officer. Battering means hitting, attacking in some form that's physical, and whose neighbors had complained about his aggressive behavior, to legally carry a hidden loaded handgun in public. So this says Florida's concealed Florida's weak concealed handgun licensing law. So basically, anybody could walk in and get approved to carry a gun. You can easily get a license. It's not hard in Florida to get a handgun license. Zimmerman had been following Martin in his car, telling the police in a 911 call that Trayvon looked real suspicious because he was just walking around looking about. Zimmerman cornered the unarmed teenager, shot, and killed him. Afterward, the shooter claimed to be acting in self-defense. To date, he has not been charged with any crime. Florida's extreme stand your ground law, which establishes a low threshold to justify the use of deadly force, may now protect his implausible claim of self-defense. These laws create a poisonous recipe for tragedy. An innocent man is now dead and his killer may be shielded from justice. Florida's weak laws are not unique. Too many states allow virtually anyone who meets low minimum requirements to carry a concealed handgun in public, regardless of whether the person has any real need to carry a deadly weapon. Too many states also safeguard shooters. Safeguard means they protect shooters from accountability for the terrible acts of violence they commit in the name of self-defense. And I'm going to skip that part. To learn more about all the places that people can carry hidden loaded weapons in public, read our publication, Guns in Public Places. Serious reforms is needed if we are going to prevent future tragedies like the terrible death of young Trayvon Martin. Since killing Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman has claimed that he acted in self-defense, seeking cover under Florida's extreme stand your ground law. To date, he has not been convicted of any crimes. Okay, I'm going to scoot down here. So here's what Florida Stand Your Ground law is. When a person is confronted with a possible threat to his or her safety in a public place, under traditional principles, the person must retreat as much as is practical before using deadly force in self-defense. Florida's Stand Your Ground law, which was adopted in 2005, provides that a person who reasonably believes that deadly force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm has no duty to retreat from confrontation outside the home before engaging in deadly force. In reality, the law hampers the prosecution of individuals who unlawfully use deadly force to injure and kill. Okay, so what they're saying is basically if I feel like my life is in danger, I don't have to try to run. I don't have to try to leave. If I feel like I'm being threatened, I can shoot to kill. Okay, so that's what this Florida's Stand Your Ground law is basically saying. So Florida is not the only state that has Stand Your Ground laws. Florida's weak laws are not unique. 25 states, including Florida, have stand your ground laws containing provisions that generally allow the use of deadly force in self-defense with no duty to retreat in locations outside the home. There's another 7 that have limited stand your ground laws that extend to specific locations outside of your home, including a vehicle or a place of business or employment. So these red states have Florida-style stand your ground laws. So these 25 states generally allow the use of deadly force outside the home. And the yellow states extending to certain locations. So these 7 states extend the use of deadly force to specific locations. So the red states, it could happen to me anywhere. It doesn't really matter. The yellow states, it has to be specific places. And then the white states, they do not have the stand your ground law. And if you take a look, we live in a red state that has the stand your ground law that's just like Florida. Okay. So Florida's weak laws are not unique. Again, it's just repeating 25 states, including Florida, have stand your ground laws containing provisions that generally allow the use of deadly force in self-defense with no duty to retreat when outside the home. So with this no duty to retreat, basically, if I feel like I'm in danger, instead of walking away or leaving or calling the police, I can just shoot you if I want to, if I feel like I'm being threatened or my life is in danger. So it doesn't really give me the option, or I don't have to take the option if I don't want to just walk away or go to another location or move, or use common sense. I can just basically take someone's life if I feel like I'm in danger. So here are the 25 states, including ours, that has a stand your ground, like Florida. And here's the other 7 who are that have stand your ground, but it's limited. So I can only perform in this manner if I'm in a vehicle, a place of business, or if I'm at work. Okay. And then they have other states who are still looking at that option but don't have it yet. And then here's the consequences of having stand your ground. So since Florida adopted its stand your ground law in 2005 and other states followed suit, the FBI has seen a steady increase in occurrences of justifiable homicides. Notice that that's in quotations. So just like George Zimmerman felt like he was being threatened, even though he was following Trayvon Martin around, there are people who are committing homicides and saying that they're justifiable because they felt threatened by private citizens nationwide, from 238 in 2006 to 278 in 2010, even though violent crime decreased by 13.2% during the same period. In Florida, a 2010 investigation by the St. Petersburg Times found that the stand your ground law had been employed in at least 93 criminal cases involving 65 deaths, including deadly neighbor arguments, bar brawls, road rage, even a gang shootout that just as easily might have ended with someone walking away. George Zimmerman is the only individual with a license to carry a concealed weapon who has killed an innocent person. According to an analysis of news reports by the Violence Policy Center, people with concealed handgun licenses have killed at least 391 people nationwide since May 2007, including 11 law enforcement officers. Pending federal legislation would jeopardize public safety. Florida's weak concealed handgun licensing law enabled George Zimmerman, who had been previously arrested for battering an officer and whose neighbors had complained about his aggressive behavior, to legally carry a hidden loaded handgun in public. Legislation currently pending in the U.S. Senate would force every state that licenses concealed carry to recognize licenses from every other state, despite significant differences in states' licensing requirements. So that means that if George Zimmerman decided to move to I don't want to scroll up, but I'm going to have to. So if he decided to go to North Dakota, they're in a yellow. Even though their laws are a little different, he's basically taking the knowledge and license from Florida up to North Dakota. So they're trying to figure out a safer way for that to take place. Okay. Because law enforcement in Florida claims that Zimmerman's license cannot be suspended until he is charged with the crime, if either of these forced reciprocity bills became law, George Zimmerman would be able to carry concealed weapons in public places nationwide. So basically, he still has his gun license because he was not found guilty. So he's still able to take part in this law of stand your ground, even though he has already taken someone's life already. So as you are thinking about and going over your notes, I'm sorry, my screen is going slow. Okay. So, what did we find out about George Zimmerman? What was some background information in regards to the weak licensing? Did we find out if he was found guilty or not? What would happen if he traveled to another state? These are all things that I could list for information that I found out about him. Trayvon Martin. Just some background information on him. What did you find out from the article? There was a lot of information about Stand Your Ground that you could use to fill in your notes. Red states and yellow states. What's the difference? And then give me a couple of those states from each one. Even if you want to mention the white states, even though I just want red and yellow. And then what were some of the repercussions or the consequences of having stand your ground laws? What is the recipe for tragedy? And then give me your thoughts. All right, guys, can't wait to have a conversation with you guys about what you thought about this in the morning.